Arteta! What a strike! What a screamer! Zola! And a fantastic goal! Arsenal back in it! And here's Limpar, lines it up, finds the net. Arsenal in front.
And welcome in. This is the Arsenal Vision post-match podcast, pre-match podcast. Actually, it's not even a podcast, and it's just a live stream. So thanks for joining. My name is Elliot Smith. You can block me on Twitter, Yankee Gunner. We're going to be taking your questions today. We're going to be reacting to the lineup, which is already out, which is handy for us trying to do this show. We're going to talk to Jessica. It's Jessinho. We're going to talk to Paul. We're going to probably talk to Clive. We're going to talk to you, of course. Do some predictions, preview the West Ham game, and have all kinds of fun. Probably plenty of silliness as well. So thanks for being here. Trying to liven up the occasion because it is, of course, a dead rubber, and there is no chance that Arsenal will be stepping on any rakes today. 3-1 away. Victory means an easy day at the office, and Aubameyang restored to the captaincy, although there are 3 captains today, is the reporting, and restored to the starting lineup. We'll talk about that and more with Jess. You can find her on Twitter at It's Jessinho. Hello, Jessica.
Hey, what's going on?
I don't know if I ever mentioned this, but my sister's name is Jessica.
Oh, nice, good.
Which begs the question, are you my sister?
I don't think so.
Well,
I think we could count that one out.
Answers in the chat. Okay, well, I am delighted to talk to you, and we can just get the lineup up right now because it is already out. And so we're going to start right off the bat with lineup reactions. So, Jess, it's an interesting one, and we did a over on Patreon side. Clive and I did a rewatch of the first half and second half of the derby because why wouldn't you watch both halves of a winning derby performance? And what we noticed a lot is the positions that Odegaard was taking up and how he would come back to the ball to form a third midfielder, a line of 3 in midfield, and then get into the space in between. And it's something that we've always sort of criticized Ceballos for doing, that he comes to the ball, he's drawn to the ball, he doesn't want to stay in his space and hold his positional discipline. He wants to come to the ball, he wants to move to the places where he can really impact the game. That seems to work really well the way we're playing with the guy playing between the lines and less well in central midfield. So tonight the midfield is Elneny, Xhaka, and Ceballos. And I'm curious if you think maybe Ceballos will get a shot at that Odegaard role and see how he does when he has a little more freedom to get drawn to the ball if he wants, go finds the space. If you think that this is a chance for him to try out a role that might suit his instincts better.
Honestly, I think that this is a good idea based on the fact that, I was kind of worried that maybe he'd drop Willian back in there, which hasn't really worked. I think Ceballos has the right kind of technical quality to play in this role, and this is a role that he's actually played in the past, just not at Arsenal. So I'm actually excited about this just to see what it looks like to have Ceballos in there versus Odegaard and Emile Smith-Rowe. I think he'll be a lot more similar to Odegaard, because they're more similar players, but I'm excited to see this. I mean, first time, we'll see if it works, but I think that this is a good move considering we need to rest Odegaard. We need to rest either one of Emile Smith-Rowe or Odegaard, and Odegaard's getting the rest. So I'm excited about this, actually.
Yeah, well, I am too. And I think with respect to Aubameyang getting back into the lineup, I think this is a tricky one, right? Because this is a game where you'd probably just say, play Martinelli there or do something, do something a little different. But given that Aubameyang was left out at the weekend, that we have an international break and he may not be going away for the international break. We can maybe touch on that later. Do you think that maybe, in a way, Arteta, his hand is forced here, right? Because if you leave Aubameyang out again, even if you're only doing it to rest him for West Ham, you invite the issue to carry on, be asked again in the press conference, and just starting him tonight puts an end to it. You get a super motivated Aubameyang. He's got 1 game to play on the weekend and then potentially 2 weeks off.
Yeah, I think this is the right move just to make sure that we kind of squash this whole thing and, let it be known to the press and to the fans that it really is over. It's not going to carry on any further than this. And, I think, one match being dropped, in a North London derby where we won is enough punishment for Aubameyang at this point. So it's done. It's over. Let's see if he can get a couple goals under his belt before the West Ham game, because that's going to be an important one. And then we go into international break and, and relax. So I think this is a good move by Arteta just for man management's sake.
Yeah, I think it's smart and it's fine. And I think in general, if it's a relatively easy night, it can be an hour for Aubameyang, get his sharpness up for the weekend. That obviously looks like a big game. We can preview that in just a bit. But you see the question from Mark Bennett on the screen. Surely a bit of Gabby tonight. This is one that I think we're keeping an eye on. Everybody is at this point. He's so young, and so freaking out about him right now is probably overdoing it. But I think all of us, I speak for all Arsenal fans, of course, as always. When I say I think we really rate this player, he's been out in the cold since the United game. Surely tonight a chance to get him on the pitch. Arteta asked about him, said, it's my fault. I have to find him minutes. And to be fair, when Willian is playing so well, you got to play him. I kid. You don't have to play Willian. But does he have to find a way to get Martinelli on tonight unless the game is, nervier than we anticipate?
I mean, if we make this game more interesting than it should be, then no. I just think that this is a no-nonsense approach by Arteta. If we use the North London Derby as an example, we're not necessarily the best team when we're in a position of dominance, and that's kind of where we are right now. Should be relatively easy, but I think we need to put the game away first. I think Aubameyang being reinstated into the squad is more important than getting Martinelli minutes from the beginning. So for me, it's like finish it off, get 2-0 up, and then bring on Gabby and see what happens. He's definitely behind Aubameyang for that center forward position. They've been talking about that, how they're trying to move him from the left into the center, which is going to be a big move for him. So hopefully we get to see him. But personally, for me, I'm not really worried about it. I know a lot of people are, but I just don't think it's that big of a deal, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, I think this is interesting. So, right, I bought a cookie the other night, and I have been instructed by my wife that we are on a cleanse. We're getting rid of that stuff right now, and we are not having treats. So rather than just saying, don't eat the treat, please don't bring the treat home, my wife took the cookie, mashed it up, put it down the garbage disposal, and ran the garbage disposal. Now, those of you who are not American, who may not know what a garbage disposal is, it's a thing literally in the sink with spinning blades that cuts things up and flushes them out into a waste area. This felt very extreme to me, but what it did do is prevent me from having any urge to eat the cookie. Why do I bring this up? You might ask. Why do I bring anything up? You might ask. Jessica, has Arteta done the same thing with his Willian fetish by leaving him out of the squad altogether tonight? This is the garbage disposal thing. He cannot bring Willian on if he does not have him in the squad. So has he done that for himself, for his own sanity, so he will feel more inclined to use a player like Martinelli and not Willian? Is this the version of the garbage disposal for Arteta?
I mean, it could be, but I don't think so, because I think Arteta rates Willian as much as we don't. I think he does. I think he's shown that throughout the season, that he does like him, wants this whole thing to work out, so it's not a total calamity. But I think he just wants to give Martinelli a chance. I think Nketiah is on the bench as well. Is Reece Nelson not on the bench too? This is looking like give some people a chance that may not usually get one. I expect Willian, if he's not injured, to be back in the squad against West Ham. So, I don't think this is the garbage disposal. I just think it's, let's get Martinelli in here and stop the rumors and that kind of thing. Because it's getting a little, I think it's a little tense in the fan base right now with the Martinelli thing. Yeah.
I mean, we are worriers. That's why our friends call us Whiskers, as you pointed out to me on Twitter earlier. I think that in general, the Gabriel Martinelli worry is just that we've seen Arteta have reluctance to use him, but that is offset a little bit by the fact that he started him against Chelsea on Boxing Day in this critical match that started our turnaround. He started him against United. Maybe there are issues with his rehabilitation that we're not sure of. I feel like if that was the case, Arteta would come forward with it because it gives him an out, right? As opposed to people just speculating that he doesn't like him. I think there's also the possibility that, he sees him as more of a center forward. I do think the way we're using these wide players, Martinelli, I don't think he's a particularly great passer. I don't know that linking play suits him. I think he is more of that Aguero number 9 kind of player. And maybe if Lacazette is off this summer, he will get chances to play there more next season. I just don't know if Arteta sees him working in those wide positions the way they're being used in this lineup. So could it just be that this is a striker for the future, not a wide player, and the opportunities will come for him next season when that position opens up? And for right now, he's just not suited to the system in the other positions.
Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head. I really just think it's a matter of they're trying to shift him from that left wing. People have to remember that when Martinelli was playing before, we weren't playing this system. It was basically just Saka and Martinelli running up and down the left-hand side trying to make things happen. Now the system is more established, so he has to get used to that. And I just don't think he's the right fit. I mean, I can't see Martinelli playing the left wing the way Emile Smith-Rowe and Willian play it, because they basically play like 10s. And Martinelli doesn't have that skill set. He's going to be a striker, center forward. And if Nketiah leaves and Lacazette leaves, I see more chances for him moving forward. Even Balogun will probably leave as well. So I don't think it's that big of a deal right now. I just think it's a matter of figuring out where he plays best and giving him the right tools to be successful in that position. So, I mean, we saw that there was like a little clip of him being trained separately from the rest of the team as a center forward. That's where he's going to play in the future. Now, he's going to be behind Aubameyang, so we have to keep that in mind. But I think next season is Martinelli's season. But I do agree with you, Elliot, that it's more a matter of he just doesn't fit this system, at the moment on the left-hand side.
Last little question about the lineup. Do you have any sort of regret? Anywhere. I haven't really given you a chance to just sort of free range on it. We've talked about specific positions, but, Smith-Rowe, a guy who's prone to the occasional soft tissue injury, maybe not needed here. While I'm never desperate for Willian to start, I think with Pepe on the right, Aubameyang through the middle, I think we have enough for them. They're going to have to come at us, so we could be counterattacking more. Would you have liked to have seen Smith-Rowe maybe get the night off? I'm torn between saying, look, he's a young kid. He can handle this much football. He's about to have 2 weeks off. But also then wondering if maybe just being more cautious with this player at this point in his career is the right move.
I think that they're keeping an eye on the players, and if they're really close to the red zone, they probably would have taken them out. But I also think we have to, again, take a no-nonsense approach to this game, because, I mean, we could go 1-0 down and then all of a sudden it's way more interesting than it really should be. We saw that when, Emile Smith-Rowe came out and Willian came on, and that in the North London derby, kind of everything stopped, so I think Arteta wants to make sure that we have enough threat, and Willian really doesn't carry that threat, but he wants to make sure that, again, if we come, like you said, on the counterattack, we have somebody that can actually burst forward and get into space and things like that. So I'm not too worried about it, because I think Arteta expects us to put this game away and then rotate. I mean, we do have 5 subs,
Yeah, I mean, that is an interesting thing, because I feel like in the first leg, he kind of forgot he had 5 subs until like the 85th, 86th minute. I think today there's more of a chance that we'll see those subs. So let's do this. Let's get into what we expect from the game a little bit. So it is a 3-1 lead. Let me ask you, on a scale of 1 to 10, with 1 being no chance and 10 being obviously going to happen, how likely is it that at some point in this game it will be 2-0 Olympiacos?
You said 1 is most unlikely.
Most unlikely, yeah.
Maybe like, I don't know, like a 2. I don't know.
I have it at a 10.5. Olympiacos will definitely have this game at 2-0 at some point. I mean, look, I know I look old. I'm actually 22. This is just what you look like following the Arsenal. It is going to be 2-0 Olympiacos at some point. So the question is, what minute will that happen? No, Is there a situation where you could see this getting nervy? I mean, if they get the first goal, they still need 2 more. If we get a goal, 3 doesn't even get them through. I think you can just play this game the way you'd play any game. I don't think you need to be specifically approaching this sit deep and counter. I mean, do you feel that given the cushion, we could just be comfortable and play our game?
I think so. From what I've seen from Olympiacos, it's not really a matter of what they can do to hurt us. It's more of what we can do to hurt ourselves. Like they don't really have much to hurt us. I think unless we make some huge error or something like that, I don't really see them being able to get more than a goal, so I'm not too worried about it. But just like Yemi Fash says, don't jinx it, Elliot. Don't put it out there in the universe. I'm trying to be positive here.
It's what I do. And I should point out, it dawned on me as I was saying it, Smith-Rowe is in the England U21 squad, right. So he will not get the time off. Eddie can do the jinxing here, saying he fully expects us to win this with ease, 3-0 before halftime. Rain and Glass says, you're an excellent host considering your age. I know for my young age, with as little experience as I have, to be able to you know what, it doesn't, no one even believes it anymore.
That ring light has you really Thinking
Right?
you're a lot younger than you are.
It gets, you can't, like, people are like, oh, you're shiny, but what you have to understand is that shine prevents you from seeing the age lines. I'm like a tree. If you cut me in half, you'd see all these lines, but you can't do that. So look, I think for me, I do kind of expect this to be comfortable, which is the ultimate jinx. Let's talk Pepe for a second. Let's say Pepe has a really good game, and he has been really influential when he's played lately. Bukayo Saka called up to the England squad. They have 3 games on this international break. It's just, let's see if we can kill all the footballers, if possible, ruin the sport. And he's been a little off the boil. He has not, we rewatched the North London derby, and we were exploiting them on the left so much Saka had less to do. But he's played a ton of minutes. He's got internationals coming up. If Pepe is, again, imperious in this game, how much pressure does it put Arteta on to pick him against West Ham? It seems pretty clear now. He wants left-footed wingers on the right and right-footed wingers on the left. He's picking Smith Rowe and Willian on the left. He's picking Saka and Pepe on the right. If Pepe is great tonight, do you start him again for West Ham? Not as a slight on Saka, but just to give him more of that time off and run with the guy who's in good form right now.
Well, it depends on whether or not, if Saka is completely out, like he can't play, then I get it. But I do think that if Saka can play, he'll play against West Ham. I just think that is the order. The hierarchy is very set with Arteta, unless there's some sort of tactical thing that he can, use against West Ham that would make it better for Pepe to be in that lineup. From what I've seen from West Ham, they're really a compact team, and they like to play on the break, which doesn't allow for a lot of space in behind, which is where Pepe usually thrives. So I would imagine if Saka is fit enough, he would play. But I think for me personally, I think Pepe has played well enough that I would trust him in this game and the next game and be able to get, to give Saka some rest. But we've seen that Arteta is more likely to play Saka, like even a 60, 70% Saka over maybe 100% Pepe. So I wouldn't necessarily rule out Saka playing against West Ham if he's some sort of fit.
Yeah, that's fair. All right, well, we have to do one of the really tricky things that we do here on these live streams, which is introduce Paul. So I'm going to go ahead and do that now. I can see off screen he is fixing his hair, which isn't going to take a lot of time. Hello, Paul.
You little shit.
They're making fun of my age and my look and the ring light that I don't know how to set up right. Meanwhile, look, there is a certain age in life, a certain time in life when you don't need any of this fancy nonsense to try to be presentable. And I am not in that. I am not in that time of life any longer. So I'm doing what I can. I have been told I have a face for radio. Yeah.
I literally put my pants on 30 seconds before the camera came on. So.
You realize we can't see that part of you, so it's actually immaterial whether you have pants on or not. Let me get your reaction real quick here, Paul. What do you think of the lineup? Any specific reactions that you have? Strong takes. Bring the strong takes. Don't tell me you think it's neat that Luiz and Gabriel start again. Get worked up about something, for the love of God.
Well, I'd have to have seen the lineup. So the team news is in. Hector Bellerin returns. El Neni starts. He bloody should after that screamer of a goal. Auba in. That's interesting, but appropriate. I thought I was hoping I'd have a nice Willian section to chat about here, but I guess he's not in the lineup, is he?
No, he's not even in the team.
Oh wow. Okay. Well, there's not a lot to talk about then. Look, you got to go strong. I know I've seen lots of heavily rotated lineups, but, they score the first goal, which I'm hoping actually, so that this tie comes to life. Then, you can't be having the B team out there if they get the first goal. Your season... Your career as a manager suddenly comes into the focus. So, yeah, strong team. I think as long as he did a little rotating with like for like in terms of abilities generally. But I think El Neni's a pretty good Europa League kind of midfielder. We're going to have lots of possession. He just needs to keep it ticking along and feed it to the guys up front. He doesn't necessarily need to create specifically. though he has looked a lot more aggressive in his passing last time out and the time before. So I think that'll be okay. Yeah, why not?
What's your over-under on an angry goal from Oba today? I guess that's not phrased in the form of an over-under. Let's say I'll set the odds at 70%. Over or under 70% chance of Aubameyang scoring a goal tonight.
70%? That's ridiculous. That's crazy talk. Absolutely crazy.
Well, they have to come out at us, and they're bad. So those two things, I mean, come on, it's Socrates versus Aubameyang.
Well, hang on. They scored 4 against PSV and 2. They got beaten 2-1 the other leg. So, I'm not saying they're great, but that's not the same as they can't have their dangerous moments and that we can't give them the opportunity to.
No. It's cool, Paul. Since you didn't answer the question, Jess, what is the over-under? 70% over-under Aubameyang scores a goal. Since Paul feels like dissembling today, what do you tell me? What do you think? 70% over-under chance that he scores a goal. An angry, I'm the captain now goal.
Over.
That was enthusiastic. What is happening here?
I don't like this game. This game.
Okay, fine. No, a lot of people don't like or understand over/under. By the way, I want to. So there have been some comments about me not wearing the colors tonight, and I want to be clear that the irony is, I have none that are clean. I was going to throw on the Bellerin long sleeve that I have, but Paul, if you put the thing back on that you just had on, we would have all been twinsies, because what Jess is wearing is the shirt I would have been wearing, although in a long sleeve version. I'm assuming Jess, being in Southern California, is in a short sleeve version, just a guess. Paul has the same color, so we would have all been twinsies or tripletsies or whatever, and we can't have that. So, and also, I don't want to come across as partisan. I'm just a neutral host on the Arsenal Vision podcast, just a neutral host.
You're certainly rarely on the team side, Elliot. Nobody could accuse you of that.
Well, Paul, thanks for saying so. Okay, let's do this, Paul. I just wanted to talk to you quickly about the Ceballos role tonight. We were just touching on this. He's a guy who likes to come for the ball. He's drawn to it. We've sort of complained about that. I know Clive has issues with that. In terms of the way he disrupts the structure when he's in central midfield. Tonight, I think he'll be at 10. Maybe it'll be Elneny, but I think it'll be Ceballos. And if you watch how Odegaard's been playing, he's had the freedom to come back into that line of the center midfielders and build play, or get between the lines and receive it there and facilitate. And I think we might get to see Ceballos play that role. And it's a role he plays a bit. I think he played for the youth Spanish setup, the Spain team. So do you think that's the role he'll be given tonight, to sort of see if he can ape the Odegaard role? Or do you think it's just going to be Mohamed Elneny number 10 so he can bang in those Golazos from 20 yards out again?
Well, look, we've got Xhaka, Elneny, and Ceballos. I hope it's more of a midfield 3 Xhaka always hangs to the left, but if we reconfigured it so it was a 3 and a V, and I don't really care which one's which, but it's probably Elneny is going to sit deeper. Xhaka and Ceballos are going to push forward as 8s. Xhaka will be left, Ceballos right. Yep. I don't think he'll be a 10. I think he'll be midfield 8, responsible for supporting the triangle over on the right-hand side, and Xhaka will stick to the triangle over on the left-hand side. And I think he'll be good because he doesn't have to cover all over the pitch because Elneny is behind him. I think the biggest problem for Ceballos is when you have him as a pivot in a game where he's to cover a lot of ground, because he will go everywhere and maybe hold the ball a little too long at times. And before you know it, you got no shape, you got no pattern. But I still really like him as a player. In a game that suits him, this could be a game that suits him. We have possession. He's a quick passing, quick thinking midfielder. He'll be close to our triangle on the right. I guess, where do we see people playing up front? We see Pepe on the right, most likely. And, is it Aubameyang will come in? We got Bellerin pushing up. So I guess his main triangle is going to be Pepe and Bellerin ahead of him, and Aubameyang over to one side. So I think it'd be good. I think he's going to have a good game. I think he's going to pop it around. He'll be quick. We won't be frustrated with him. And I guess he'll effectively be our 8-10 on the right, while Xhaka's our 8-10 on the left, even if we don't see Xhaka that way.
Interesting. I would ask you then the same thing that I asked just about Pepe. It is, it's an interesting chance for Pepe here, I think, because I don't want to say Saka's been off the boil. I think that really, really would overstate it. But I think that he could use a rest. He might be playing a lot at the international break. Pepe has come on and looked really dangerous lately. Is he playing for a chance to start against West Ham, given that he's been so effective? And if he's really effective tonight, given how Saka might be just the tiniest bit jaded, that this is a chance for Pepe to earn himself a starting spot this weekend?
Yeah, for sure. Especially because just the little bit of niggles Saka has maybe is giving everybody a little bit of a fright. Why not keep him safe? He's to go off on international duties. Who knows how he might be abused, regardless of what Arteta says. Pepe had a great second half. I thought he took 10 minutes to warm up in the North London derby. But then you reward a performance like that. And between the two of them, he was the more impactful on the day, I guess you would say, in terms of certainly headlights-wise. I think headlines-wise, I think Saka was still decent in the first half. It's just the big moments, we won't remember him for this game. We'll remember Pepe. So he's had his moments, and you reward that, and Arteta can lean into that. So yeah, he's definitely playing for a game this weekend.
Yeah, I think that's right. And you know what, you look at this lineup and you say, who's going to be the guy there that really does the damage? And it's not that Smith Rowe can't, but he's more of a facilitator. You see that at least the way they put out the lineup, Ceballos playing 10. And again, these lineups, when they publish them like this, are almost never right. So it doesn't mean that's definitely the case. But I think, you guys, Pepe looks to me like the person who's going to have that ability to cause a lot of problems on the counterattack, to be the other goal-scoring threat, principally with Aubameyang. So we'll see how that goes. Real quick, one of the things that I think, do we potentially have a Xhaka problem now in that, Arteta doesn't seem to have a lineup he feels comfortable picking that doesn't have Xhaka in it. And I realize how durable he is, but there's a limit to everyone.
Durable, Elliot. Durable.
Durable. Durable, says the guy who believes the man's name is Xhaka. His name is not Xhaka. Xhaka. I'm probably not saying it right either. It's probably some very weird pronunciation that neither of us are capable of making. But Jess, be that as it may, and my apparently incorrect way of saying durable. Schadenfreude. Jess, do we need a Xhaka alternative or a Xhaka alternative? Your choice, dealer's choice.
Is it really a problem? Are we worried there, Elliot, about something? What are we worried about? Like, as
Jess,
long as he's fit,
I am always perpetually worried. I think you should have been aware of that.
I'm just trying to figure out what the issue is. I wouldn't be surprised if we brought in somebody maybe in the summer just to, more similar to him. To me, Ceballos and El Neni are not similar to him at all, really. We don't have anybody similar to Thomas Partey and Xhaka, so that may be an issue in the future. But as long as he's still fit and, he looks fine to me. He doesn't really run shuttles up and down the field. He kind of just stays in his pocket and passes the ball to Tierney or passes the ball to Thomas Partey or whatever. So I think that helps with his, his fitness levels and things like that. But I'm not really that worried about it, if I'm honest. But then we're kind of like on the opposite ends of the spectrum here. I don't really worry.
Not prone to
You worry about everything,
Fair enough.
I don't really think so.
Well, I would like to say that I'm burned by experience, but your mileage may vary. What about Tierney then? Again, another hugely important player.
Yeah. Maybe
someone who could have gotten the night off for Cedric tonight, but he does seem to want the lefty on the left, especially if he has a right-footed forward. So would you have done something with Tierney tonight?
I do. I worry about Tierney.
Caught you.
I do.
You what about Tierney?
I do worry about Tierney a
Worry
little
about
bit.
okay.
Just because when he's out, we do look a lot different. And going into the latter ends of the season, if we want to do well in Europa League and try to climb up the table a little bit, we do need him to be fit. But I also think, again, this is a no-nonsense approach from Arteta. There is a big difference between Tierney and Cedric. And then you have to change your everything that you want to do. Then you have to put Pepe on the left. If you have Cedric on the left, that changes everything, so I think really it's just try to get the job done, see what happens, play Tierney until he is really tired. But I mean, we'll see. I am a little bit worried about it, but what can you do? We don't have a backup left back. That's the risk that we took not getting one in January, and we're just kind of hoping that we can make it to the end of the season. So that is one that I do worry about, though.
Yeah. Paul, I saw you subtly doing the off-camera point thing, forgetting that you're actually on camera. I have a point to make. What point do you have to make, Paul? By the way, just real quick, Mr. A, thank you for the tip. You didn't get your drink order in, though, so rookie mistake, and get it next time. We've needed a Shaq upgrade since 2018-19. I got to agree with what Jess said. I think Shaq deserves huge praise for the way he's played post-Boxing Day. Huge praise. It can be true that he's been a revelation vis-a-vis what we expect from him. Having said that, having also maybe lost us a game along the way, but also true that despite his good form, still a player we can upgrade on and find the right partner. Paul, your thoughts?
Yeah, so maybe Chaka's his own upgrade. But look, I'm always open to a better player out there. The one thing I would say is he has two types of game, the kinds of game we described there where he doesn't move that much. He sits deep. He kind of holds his position. But he definitely has games where we ask him to be a pressing agent, pushing up. He's hustling. He's all over the pitch. We've seen him chase across their back line. So he can actually be. Now, maybe he's up when he was supposed to have already got back because he's a little slow, and he's back when he already should have got up. But he definitely has games where he's running all over the place, and he's more of the 8-10 he thought he was. On Tierney, quick thought was that I think Willian's had a couple of decent games recently, and I think it's when Tierney's bombing past him. He uses Tierney very well, and our good friend Smith Rowe had his best game, arguably, for the club in the North London Derby with Tierney bombing up and down. So that was the one rotational player in this team that I wanted to see rotated, but I didn't know who we'd put in there. Everybody else had a good option, but not him.
Yeah. Jess, thoughts? No? Okay, we can move on. just offering the chance to join you there. I want to quickly get to, by the way, Willian with a calf problem, but I don't know if it's a calf problem or a calf problem, like take the night off calf problem. I don't know that you don't want to say he's dropped. You also don't want to say we're not taking this seriously enough, so we gave him the night off. I don't know. I mean, a calf problem just makes it easy. I wouldn't be heartbroken if it was a calf problem that extended this weekend, though, if I'm being on just through the weekend. What, you want Willian to start against West Ham? Get on the record, Jess. Is that your preferred starter for West Ham, Willian?
No,
coming on
but
in the 80th minute to win the game?
But come on, he's been decent lately.
Has he? You and Paul seem to be of a mind here. I don't think he's been decent lately.
No, I think he's been fine.
He was bad in the Derby.
Was he bad in the Derby? No.
Yeah, I thought he was bad in the Derby. Yep. And I think I want to be clear.
Just like how Marie was unusable. I remember you said that as well.
Okay, that was wrong.
He was unusable.
That was wrong
at one point.
And Cedric, don't forget Cedric.
You're finding your sea legs here, Jess, with attacking my opinions, and I want you to know that Paul has that covered. Please don't feel like you have to take that position.
Okay,
it's well covered. You can. I can handle it.
I mean,
I'm not wearing the shirt.
I got a whole thing on Willian, but I'm not sure we want to do it today.
No, I really don't. Okay, let's do this. Let's do instead a bit of a West Ham preview. So tonight goes exactly to plan. There's absolutely no chance anything bad happens. Everything is going to be perfect. We have nothing to worry about, obviously. Having said that, Jess, the West Ham game, a big one. I mean, all of these games, the Chelsea game, the Everton game, the West Ham game, the Spurs game, obviously the Liverpool game, these are the games that are going to determine if we can move up the table in the Europa League and, dare I say it, using Clive's Predictatron, Champions League places. West Ham have been better than I expected. I keep waiting for them to fall off, and it keeps not happening, and I think they've looked good against the bigger teams. We have to obviously get the result here, go into the international break with that momentum. So what do you anticipate for the West Ham game? How nervous are you about that one in terms of the threat they pose?
Look, we were really lucky to play this team really early in the season before they really got going. because we did beat them, but it was tight, and then once I started to see them play, I was like, wow, we really got away with one. But we're better than we were then, so I think it's going to be a lot closer. My biggest fear with West Ham is, one, that Souček, if he's fit, he's very good in the air, and they're very good on set pieces. We have improved on defending set pieces, but they're elite at scoring goals on set pieces. So that's the issue. And then them on the counter. I think this is a team that we're going to have to break down. I think they're going to sit tight and try to keep us from scoring and play on the counter. So that's why I do think that Odegaard will come in, maybe even Willian, because Arteta views him as a technically secure type of player we don't need to go in behind. And I would like us to win the game. I wouldn't be surprised if we won, but I do think
that
it's
is a strong opinion. I want you to get on the record with that again, Jess, because I want people to hear it and know that you said it. Do you want to say it again? That you would like us to win the game?
I would like us to win.
You're going on record with that?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean,
all right. Oh,
yep. I don't want to be
the wrong guy. There you go.
I don't want to be too like
pro.
I feel like we're going to win this game because I don't know, because we're playing a completely different West Ham than we did earlier in the season, but we're different. I do think the game is going to be close. I wouldn't be surprised if we tied it. I wouldn't be surprised if we lose, but we have a good chance of winning, if that makes sense. But it's going to be a breakdown the block type of game. Very organized team. Yeah.
I mean, I think they definitely pose the kind of threat that I don't know which way this game is going to go. Paul, let's talk West Ham just for a minute. I think it's tough, right? Because we've really had, we've gotten the results, but I agree with Jess. We've been a little bit fortunate, and they're in really good form. I mean, where the threat is going to come from with them. I mean, do you have any strong opinions about what you expect from them this weekend? I mean, obviously they don't have to play midweek, so they can pick who they want. They'll be fresh. They'll be ready to
go. No, I think they're going to be really good. I think it's going to be a tough game. It's like who brings it on the day. I don't think I wouldn't feel you could make any kind of prediction before seeing how the teams show up. It might be one of those where we get into the soft factors of who wanted it most as a game, because it's going to be really fucking competitive. Mm-hmm. And then, will we see, what lineup are they going to go with? The last time out was kind of a different look with Mark Noble coming back in, who's kind of not been their go-to player in midfield. So that was against United, where they saw more counter-attacking as the likelihood. How they'll probably go back to their classic Souček and Rice with 4-2-3-1 to match up against our 4-2-3-1, and it'll just be who brings it on the day. But I mean, overall, I favor us, but it's got to be, neutrals looking at this will say that's a very even battle. And they should be favorites at the end of the day. But I think we might just have enough. But probably the most likely result is a draw, unfortunately. But that's not what it should be a great game, because both teams need this 3 points, us to move up and them to hold on to their European heritage bounty. So should be good.
Yeah, I mean, it's so hard to say anything about the first game. I mean, you just look at who our goal scorers were. You see Eddie Nketiah there, and the last time we played him, it was match week 2, lifetime ago, a different formation, a different set of players, a different situation. We
were really poor on the ball that game. I'll never forget. We were really, really bad on the ball. It was, and they're really dangerous on the counterattack. So, and somebody did say in the comment section that it might be good to play Marie and Holding in that game for aerial reasons. So that might be why we're seeing Gabriel and David Luiz today, so that we can play them during the week or during the weekend. So that would be interesting, because they're very good in the air, scary good.
Yeah, well, I mean, the one thing I would say is we've actually, I feel like, handled that threat relatively well this season. So that's a positive. And so, I mean, let's just get to this then. Let's say we win at the weekend. The results went pretty well for us last weekend, but you look at the table, we're still sitting 10th somehow. But the margins have closed. Jess, top 4, top 6, top half. what's still to come for this team. And, I mean, obviously getting through tonight means more fixtures, but we're near full fitness, or basically at full fitness. Everything seems to be okay. It just now an international break coming at probably the worst possible time, you would say, given the way things are clicking in the fitness of our team. But do you have a strong feeling about where we're headed in terms of finish this season?
I think top half. Okay. You guys, I know you guys are going to hate me. I know it. But I just think because of the teams that are in between us and some of our own inabilities to win certain types of games, I know we're looking at the back end of that of the leagues and thinking that those are easy games, but a lot of those teams are going to be fighting for their lives. So, and we're not really good when we're the better team, in my opinion. I think we're better when we're the underdog. So I think top half for sure. I would like to see us at least get up to 8th. I think the optics of 8th is much better than 10th. We need a 1 digit, not 2, but top 6 is going to be, even though I think it's doable, I think it's going to be really difficult, so best case scenario, probably 6th, but I'm thinking 8th, around 8th. You guys don't hate me.
No. I mean, look, if that's your opinion, that's fine. I mean, I think it's funny that you say I'm the worrier, and now that's where you're coming.
I'm not worried about it, though.
You're not worried.
I'm not worried about it.
She's just saying what's going to happen. Yeah. All right. Well, so let's do this real quick. Let's talk about the Europa League after tonight, beyond tonight. And so, Paul, I'm going to pop up the fixtures that are going on tonight. Let me take the lineup off here so you can just see the bottom of that. All right. Talk to me about what you'd like to see happen with the game. I mean, realistically, so it does look like, unfortunately, Spurs are in a position to go through. Obviously, Man United Milan is the big one today with a 1-1 on aggregate right now. If we get through, you look at this, do you have a preference of how these shake out and who we might draw in the next round?
Well, none of the English teams, thanks. I want them done and dusted. But unfortunately, Tottenham will get through. I'm sure United at the moment seem, and hopefully they face each other in the future round and get wiped out. Rangers would be fun. I mean, they're good and stuff, but Kieran Tierney, that'd be a nice little angle there. A little bit of fire and bluster there. Pull down his socks before the game starts, not just at the end. Show his shin pads. Don't want to face Ajax. They might remember they're really good. Looks like they've already remembered they're really good. Molde would be fun.
Yeah, you'd take that.
Needs a bit of a comeback there. We're good at them.
I mean, if you look at this, there's clear teams you want to avoid, and they're Roma. They're either a Milan or United. Absolutely want no part of Villarreal for obvious reasons. Hashtag narrative. Jess, let me ask you worst case scenario. Worst case scenario here. I think it's Spurs, but we just showed that we can beat them and they're not very good. Is the worst case scenario for you Spurs, or is there a team you'd be even less likely to want to draw?
Honestly, I think it's Spurs. Because just they're so desperate. They need a trophy like Jose Mourinho needs it. And playing him in the league is definitely different than playing him in a knockout competition. So for me, I would like to avoid Spurs. But I think there's a big chance of us having to play one of Tottenham, Manchester United, or Unai Emery next.
I got to tell you, I think Dan Smith has it. We're going to draw Bayern Munich. If there's any chance, somehow we'll get Bayern Munich. True. We're getting a lot of different reactions here. Anyone but Villarreal. I can understand that. We'll draw Villarreal. Would prefer Arteta to face Emery, Jose, Ole before the final. I guess you could see that, guys. I got to.
So can I ask a question?
Please.
Elliot, if we to pick between United, Spurs, and Villarreal, who would you take? Because it's easy for me.
I would
it's
take
gotta be Emery.
Villarreal first.
Yeah.
Then Spurs, then United probably.
It's
hard to say, right?
Give Spurs the payback.
Well, so here's the hard part, right? I think United are better than Spurs, but I would just say that I don't want to live through 2 legs of a European tie against Tottenham Hotspur. Like, even if I think it, you know what it is, guys? It's one of those
It would
situations
liven
where,
up the season, though.
yeah, beating them in knocking them out of Europe over 2 legs would be as much fun as we've had with Arsenal. I mean, we won an FA Cup, so but it would be hugely, hugely fun. It would be on par with just about anything. But losing
Also
to them
traumatic.
would be the most traumatic thing we've gone through in a long time. So, like, I would prefer not to have to roll those dice and have the anxiety. I totally agree. The anxiety of Spurs is awful. So for me, even though I think United are probably better than Spurs, I might put United ahead of them because while it might give us 10% more likelihood of being knocked out by them is 100% more palatable, if you could say it that way, than being knocked out by Spurs.
Jose Mourinho Spurs. That's really, it's a double whammy.
It's a double whammy. It is. I mean, I'd take Milan.
Yeah.
I think not that I mean, Roma would be really tricky. I don't want any part of Roma. A Henrik Mkhitaryan hat trick in the second leg to knock us out would feel pretty bad, I think. Is there a favorite? If you take us out of the equation, Jess, who's the favorite to win the Europa League in your view? Not according to the 538 or any of that stuff. Who's your opinion of who's favored to win it right now?
Spurs.
You really think Spurs are the best
I
team
do.
left?
I think just, but you have to take into consideration the coach that they have, and this is not the league. This is a knockout competition with somebody who's, they make it their business to win trophies. Ole Gunnar has yet to win a trophy. So I don't really think I can count it that way. And plus the desperation of that club right now. So I would say Spurs would be favorites, but if it's not us, which I think it is us.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's interesting. I mean, Paul, do you feel the same way that Spurs? I don't think they're very
United.
good. I think United's probably better than them, but United have a 1-1 right now. So if you had to just say on percentages, who's more likely, it might be Spurs right now. Milan and Roma getting a vote. Y'all rate Spurs way too high. I agree. I don't think they're very good. I mean, the one thing I will say is, with Harry Kane, with Son, with Gareth Bale, like we saw it in the Champions League a couple seasons back. They got absolutely dominated by City, but they just somehow got like things to go for them and got through. When you have that quality up front, we even saw it against us. We dominated them at the weekend, and Kane almost puts a free kick in, right? That he dived to win. So when you're as good at diving as they are, it's all good. But I think Mourinho's last legs. All right, so should we get to some quick predictions before we got to get out of here tonight? And then we'll take a few more questions. So if you have any questions, burning questions, not like questions about things that are burning because we're not experts on that, but burning questions, be happy to take them. But let's get some predictions for tonight first. Paul, what do you see happening tonight? What's your prediction for tonight's result?
2-1. I think we'll be happy enough about 2-1. It'll keep them contained. I think they'll score the first goal. No, I don't. I think we'll score the first goal and the second goal, and then we get a little sloppy and they'll score one. 2-1-ish. Yeah.
2-1-ish. Okay.
Yeah.
2-1-ish isn't bad. I mean, you take it. Jess, you have a prediction?
I actually agree. 2-1. But I think they'll score first, and then we'll come back and just finish it off.
Yeah. I'm going to say 4-1 to the Arsenal tonight. I think we're going to absolutely destroy them, and it could be more. I think.
You've said this before, and it didn't work.
It always goes great for me. It always goes great for me. Never. No. Always goes great. I think the reason is because they have to play in this game. And I think that suits us a little bit because I don't think they're very good and they weren't great defensively. And if there's space, I think we can really exploit it. I don't know if 3 months ago I would have felt the same way. When teams came at us, we didn't have the ability to exploit the space. But I think now in this new system, I think with Smith Rowe and Ceballos, they're linking play, Aubameyang running in behind Socrates. And I think there's a chance here for it to be a big score and a lot of positive reactions to my score prediction, as you'd expect.
Elliot, can I just say something? I just saw the classic, it's better we play Spurs now than in the final logic, which is the worst.
That was from John, and John did not get his drink order, and I'm going to pop that back up. John, first of all, thank you so much. We really appreciate it. But
don't give him a drink.
He doesn't get a drink.
I mean, you never want to play anybody till the final because they may not get to the final.
Yeah. So in other words, you're saying it'd be better to play them in the final because it means you're in the final?
Yeah. Well, no, I'm saying don't play them because they may get knocked out in the semifinals and you'll never have to play them.
Yeah, a lot of very optimistic Gooners in the chat. I will tell you that. I think there's plenty of reason for it, although people still wanting to bash me for for me. Yeah, Paul, by the way, guy gives us a tip and you go full flames on the guy. I mean, what the hell is going on here? Let me get you guys on record now. All right, Jess, on record, who we drawing tomorrow, bright and early your time?
Villarreal.
The Emery Derby. Paul?
Rangers. I'm going with Rangers. We're getting Rangers.
Rangers. Let me add this back in here. I'm going to go with you guys. I'm so sorry, but we're drawing Spurs. We're definitely drawing Spurs.
No, Spurs is going to draw Granada.
Really?
Yeah. They get
Can we
the
get
most
them to
easy
draw a
draws.
grenade? To draw a grenade instead? I don't know why. I think that's it. That's not even like Granada and grenade aren't even the same word. But it's all good. Man of the match tonight, Paul. Who do you think?
Oh, I don't know. I don't know. How would I know?
I mean, you could pick one. Clive asks, "Are we
Smith
playing
Rowe.
4-3-3?" Clive, if you had the courage to come on the
Yes.
podcast, I would tell you why we're not. We are not playing
Where's
4-2-3. It's a Clive. We talked about this in the rewatch yesterday. It's a 4-2-3-1.
Yes, we are.
And Ceballos is playing the Odegaard role, and that is what is happening. Aubameyang man of the match, Pepe man of the match, getting a couple shouts. We're drawing Dinamo Zagreb. Clive in the chat, Spurs get the easiest draw. Jess, you're getting some love for that theory. All right. So, just real quick, Paul, do you expect Martinelli will get on tonight? Arteta said, look, I'm responsible. I have to get him on. Eddie Longbridge thinks a 15-minute hat trick in the second half for Gabby Martinelli. What do you think?
You got to wonder what he'd have to do if he doesn't get on tonight. Assuming we're doing all right and we're not in a pickle, though you could still use him if you're in a pickle. But if there's something he's trying to protect and blah, blah, blah. So I assume if things are going okay, he should get some minutes tonight after what he said recently. It'd look a bit odd if he doesn't. But
Jess, you agree?
Yeah. We need to put the game away and let Martinelli get on the field just for the sake of the Arsenal fans. So they don't, there's just too much anxiety here. We need to see him and hopefully in a game that's already done so he can just, do him.
Yeah. Look, I think the Ceballos one is one to watch tonight. He's come on in 2 consecutive European games and given the opposition a goal in 2 consecutive games, right? Against Benfica, he had the back header that they scored on. Against Olympiacos, he has the bad touch. Granted, not a great Leno pass, but that leads to their goal. He's playing a role tonight that I think suits him more. He doesn't have to have the positional discipline. He can be between the lines more. I don't think it's a 4-3-3. I think he'll be at 10. The good news is in 20 minutes, everybody can come at me on Twitter and tell me how wrong I was, or in the Discord if you're a Patreon subscriber. But Paul, is this an important night for Ceballos? Because I think, I know you think it's 4-3-3. It's not.
that's that thing they're doing on the sidelines when they're like communicating something, right?
I also want to know what
3.
these are.
Yeah.
These little things are too.
One goes, one stays. One goes, one stays. One goes, one stays. That's a double pivot. One goes, one stays. Somebody needs to.
I think we might stand like it's. I think we might stand like it's 4-2-3-1, and then when it gets busy, you're going to have Ceballos on the right, and you're going to have Xhaka pushing up on the left. And it won't really matter what they call it.
Flat one. Remember when we played against Leicester? We played that weird flat 3 where Ceballos was kind of off to the right and Xhaka was dropping back, and El Neni plays the party role. It could be that.
There's a lot going on right now. There's a lot at work here. Jess, save us. Let's talk Ceballos real quick. I know he's not the most exciting player to talk about. Everybody wants to talk about Odegaard. Are we going to sign him or are we going to keep him? Ceballos has now been at the club almost 2 seasons. Decisions have to be made. I don't think he's going to be extravagantly expensive, and I'm not sure Madrid are going to look at his time here and say that's the direction they want to go. I think he's on the fringe of being someone that I would regard as useful for us if he's affordable and not useful for us if he's not affordable. He is just 24. So at an age where there's still improvement that could happen. We finally settled on a system. If you think about it, he has not started with Thomas Partey in the 4-2-3-1 yet. So he hasn't gotten that opportunity. He doesn't get it again tonight. And if Smith Rowe is really regarded by Arteta as maybe more of this wide midfielder, Ceballos could be a rotational option at that 10, depending on who we get, Aouar, Buendia, or Odegaard. He's an option for central midfield. I think he could, much to a lot of people's chagrin, I would suggest, I think he could wind up staying if the price is right. Tonight could wind up being a weirdly important night for that because weaker opposition, a chance to play in a more free role and show that he has the quality. I mean, do you think that this has a sort of quietly big night for Ceballos situation? Because he's clearly second best to Xhaka Partey as a starter, for the big games. He's not going to take Odegaard's starting spot. So how important is this for Ceballos? And could this be a sort of sneaky big audition for him in terms of what's going to happen for him next in his career?
I think yes, in some ways, yes, because he hasn't really, I don't think he's shown enough this season for us to feel confident about, bringing him in permanently. But I think I have a feeling that the club is going to go in a different direction anyway. So I'm not really too fussed if he has this great performance or whatever. I think Arteta does like him, but his profile is problematic to me. And I like Ceballos. I just think his profile, people have been saying in the comments, he's too slow. He's a little lightweight. I want to see him do well to maybe make it more of a substantial conversation about whether we should keep him or not. Because as you said, he won't cost a lot. Real Madrid doesn't want to get rid of him, things like that. And he needs to find a forever home, right? But ultimately, I think moving forward, as looking at the way the Premier League is kind of going in a more athletic, fast, quick. If you look at Aston Villa, the type of players that they have, Ceballos, as good as he is, and I know we're going to be a possession-based team, I don't think he has the right profile. But I would like to see him have a redemptive, if that's even a word. You'll tell me because you're a lawyer.
Yeah.
A game, because the last couple have been, a little shocking.
Well, yeah, I mean, he owes us a performance based on what he's done the last couple. I mean, look, I think it's easy to forget that, and again, I'm not saying he's lit the world on fire, but I think it's easy to forget he was our player of the season if you're only measuring Project Restart. He was excellent. He has not shown that form this season, unfortunately. And I think, to be fair, he got most of his playing time in that period where we were in the back three where things just weren't working. There was no one to link with. Lacazette was dropping back into midfield. It didn't work. We switched to this 4-2-3-1 on Boxing Day against Chelsea. You get the guy between the lines, first with Smith Rowe, then with Odegaard. And Partey gets in the lineup a little bit more. And he's played with Xhaka, but he hasn't really played with Partey. He got injured a bit, then he came back. And to be fair, he had a couple really good games in Partey's absence where he played well in that central midfield role. I think that, unfortunately, our opinions, Paul, you'll be shocked to hear me say this, too often are in the binary form of they're great or they suck. And I think there is room for a player who's just been good. He hasn't gotten to the heights we'd like, but has been pretty good. And I think there's a player in there with Ceballos. And now, look, if it's 35 million, then no, you don't buy him. If you've got a 15 million pound capability to get a 24-year-old Spanish international central midfielder with upside, who's already played in your team for 2 seasons, I mean, isn't that a move that just seems very easy to make? And you say El Neni moves on and maybe a Xhaka is getting sold and you still go buy a Sumare or a Basuma or whoever it is. But then you've got Ceballos as an option, a rotational option in central midfield, a rotational option at the 10. It gives us a lot of flexibility, Paul, for not a lot of money. I mean, would you keep Ceballos if the price is right?
I think we've got to make a choice between El Neni and Ceballos. Just because they're both in that they're not starters, but they're interesting options. And El Neni's unless he has if he keeps up this form that he's had in the last game or so, the screamer, the more progressive passing, the more aggressive passing, maybe El Neni starts to become the more durable option there, covers more ground, kind of more of a balanced player. But otherwise, I lean towards Ceballos. I can see us keeping one of the two. Maybe we sell El Neni, and that mostly covers the fee for Ceballos. Look, he's very good with the ball. He's very good on the ball. just going backwards, if he's to cover a lot of ground, we're in trouble. So if we move to more of a 3, more of a Man City, hey, we got 2 attacking 8s, he can be one of those 8s. Yep. But he needs a good screen behind him. I don't know who that screen is, but maybe it's Basuma, maybe it's Thomas Partey taking the deeper role and covering a lot of ground. But if he wants to be a starter, we need to switch to a 3, and we need a hell of a screen behind him because, or he needs it. You can always tuck in the fullback on the right-hand side, Man City style, as we've done many times to help cover him. But again, the 3-man midfield gives us options there to tuck somebody else in behind him and give him some security. I think Arteta is going to like him more than maybe we like him because they're on the same wavelength as to how you play a midfield. He just lacks that mobility, but he gives us options.
Yeah. Look, I think at the end of the day, we have a lot to do in this squad. And if you can affordably keep players who have already played with you for 2 seasons that are entering their prime, if you buy him in the COVID market for $15 million, and when he's 26, it hasn't worked out, you're still going to get $25 million for, you know what I mean? So I see him as being, if the price is right, I see him being a reasonable investment. All right, we should get out of here because it's almost kickoff. So just real quick, you're expecting an easy pass through to the next round tonight, Jess, and you're expecting us to get, who did you say we're going to get? Did you say?
Oh, I think we're going to get Villarreal.
Villarreal, the Emery Derby. All right. You know what? I'd take it. Paul?
I would too.
Rangers. Yep.
And I've said Spurs, and I am really sorry. I regret saying it. But I think it's an easy pass tonight. No stepping on rakes tonight, Arsenal. No stepping on rakes. So that'll do it, Jess. Obviously, so appreciate you coming on. It was fairly short notice. Weren't sure we were going to do this, so we'll hope to have you on again soon. Thanks.
So did I say bye? Okay.
You can say bye. You can also your podcast. She knows Arsenal. Do you have regular release times for that everyone can look for?
Well, I do instant reaction, not really like your guys's, but just where I just ramble to the camera right after. So
no, that's just like ours.
So that's going to be right after the game. So you guys want to come and join me? It's live on my channel. She knows Arsenal, and that's where I'll be.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. So you don't want to miss that. Get Jess's channel. Hit the bell and the like and all this. Smash all the buttons. Why do they always say smash? Jess, why do they say smash? You don't want to say, your electronics is not cheap. Don't smash it. Just tap it, right? Can we move away from the smash thing?
Bye, guys. I'll see you guys next time.
Just on Twitter, it says, thank you, Jess.
I admire her having standards. She's done with this shit.
Someone has to. Paul's on Twitter. Pause my pants. Thanks, pause.
Woohoo!
Woohoo, indeed. My name is Elliot Smith. Unfortunately, you can block me on Twitter at Yankee Gunner. We love you. Thank you so much for being here. Always enjoy getting the chance to do these. And, look, we're going to try to make this a more regular thing, and Tim will be on and Clive will be on, do more of these, get more questions answered and all that. So, just really, really appreciate you doing that, everybody. So, up the Arsenal. Big win tonight. Definitely not stepping on any rakes. Definitely no problems. Definitely no challenges. Just a smooth, comfortable pass through to the next round, and hopefully, a nice, easy draw tomorrow. Enjoy the game wherever you're watching. Hope you're doing well. Stay safe. Stay healthy. We love you, and we'll talk to you after Arsenal 10, Olympiacos nil.